Kia ora everyone, I'm super excited to introduce our guest today. She's a playwright, director and performer and the artistic director of Red Scare Theatre Company. She has written for both musical and non-musical theatre as well as television and radio drama. We have Cassandra Tse. How are you?
I'm very well. I'm doing really well in these circumstances. It feels kind of weird to be like, I'm actually feeling happy today. But, it's also nice to take that when you can, I think.
Yeah, definitely revel in the moments of joy, eh? But I want to know who is in your bubble and where is your bubble at the moment?
So I am in Wellington, which is my hometown. I've lived here for most of my life. I've moved away for 1 year and then I came back again. And it's just me and my partner, James, here in our little 2-room house, which is very, very small, but I'm also very grateful that it's just the two of us because we, get on so well that we're not getting on each other's nerves despite being in constant contact for 4 weeks, which is very, very good.
So we live and breathe our art, and taking away our practice at the moment, you as a playwright, as a director and as a performer, I want to know who is Cassandra Tse when her practice is on pause?
I'm definitely the sort of person that keeps making things and needs to, I'm definitely the kind of person that needs to have a project just to have something to do with myself. But one of the things I've been trying to encourage in myself in recent years, and I think has been really helpful for this moment, is to find hobbies and things which aren't needing to be monetized, because there's this kind of expectation when you work in the arts that every single artistic thing that you do therefore has to be done seeking a profit or some sort of way to, if you're good at it, that you need to charge for it. And I'd rather, find other things that I can do that I find interesting and creative, and find a way for me to be productive and have a project to work on, but aren't necessarily for the ultimate goal of creating work to be, eventually rewarded. So the projects that I've done during this time, like one of the things I love to do with, I have a community theatre ensemble that I work with a lot called Wellington Footlights, and we have a lot of social activities we do, and one of the things that we do together a lot of the time, I've written 3 murder mystery parties for them. So you write a full profile for each character, you work out all of the different plot lines of how they're all of the different B stories and C stories, as well as the immediate murder mystery plot line. And so you interweave them all together, you just send everybody the information that they need, and then you get together and do that at a party. And so we did an online version of that last week, which was really, really fun. It was a good thing that was involved a lot of writing from me, because it's 24 characters or something like that I had to create and work out all these different plot lines and all that stuff. And you do it for one night for a party and then it's done. And in some ways, you're like, that work, maybe I should turn that into a business. And then the other part of myself goes no, it's just something that's enjoyable, that's helps me feel creatively rewarded, but isn't me trying to find a way to make money off something, which I enjoy a lot.
That is so impressive, to be honest. And I find it so fascinating and admirable that, your hobbies in a way still really feeds into your true artistic personality. And I want to know, outside of your that being you being a writer and a maker being a big part of your breathing space, especially during the time of the lockdown, which in some ways kind of still brings a bit of normality for you, is there something physical that you manifest in your space, or is how are you filling your space at the moment that is just for you?
I think for me, I'm very lucky that I was already a person that really liked cooking before the lockdown, though I've instantly realized just how much money I spend going to restaurants and eating out as soon as that's gone from my life. But making meals and actually sort of putting the time in to make something that's really delicious and nice is, I think, a very important kind of self-care ritual, I think, for me. I also I really like listening to podcasts as just generally part of my life. And one of the things that I've often done just to be a good calming morning thing is to put a podcast on and do the dishes in the morning, because I've generally not done them the night before, or James hasn't done them the night before. but get up and just like make the space clean and not be talking and just listening to something, I think is a very meditative thing. And that's probably the most meditative of all the stuff that I do, because I'm not like a huge, like ritualistic person other than, I guess, practical things. But that's something that I have enjoyed doing these past few days.
What do you think this recent change has done to your identity as a human or as a creative?
That's an interesting question. I think I have been mostly just extremely grateful to be living in New Zealand, to be in this time. Like I used to live in New York. That was like where I was when I wasn't in Wellington. I've only lived in Wellington and New York. And a lot of the media I take in is generally from America. Like I'm a huge Twitter user, and of course listening to podcasts. Most of the podcasting that I take in is from America, or seeing stuff from the UK as well. And I feel very grateful about our place in the world, and that I feel that our government has been dealing with it pretty well particularly compared to all these other places. And so I'm really empathizing with people that are in this overseas position where there is a lot more fear and general sense that this is an apocalyptic time. And I get the sense that for us in New Zealand, there isn't so much of that sense of everything's coming to an end. This is like this huge big change of world order. And I think that's partially because we've been so lucky and had a government that is really caring for its citizens in that way. And so there's this sense of more, we're just stopping for a moment, but we will be able to release and get back. And yeah, I feel grateful that I'm not feeling that fear that I think so many people overseas are, for very good reason. And then partially you sit there and go like, oh, should I be feeling more anxious about this? I don't know. Partially I think because I'm a very anxious person by nature, there's not a huge shift for me. I do feel a lot more anxious when I've had to go out of the house to go and do things, but I also am an inside cat and don't really like, I have not been doing my mandated daily exercise and leaving the house. Like I go to the garden and I just like come back inside. But I know other people that are like, oh my God, I have to get out of the house. And I'm just not that person. Like I'm inside all the time anyway. So I think, it's just, I guess it puts me into perspective and makes me think like, wow, like the way I experience the world is a lot more suited to this type of lifestyle than I think a lot of people is. And I'm quite grateful for that, for my own proclivities.
I totally agree with you on that. And I totally am on the same buzz of the whole anxiety thing as well. I definitely opted out of going to the supermarket shop, even though I think that would be a really exciting adventure. But I was just like, nah, I'm not ready for that kind of contact with the outside world. Thank you so much for taking the time and sharing your
No worries.
and how you are at the moment. Everyone, that's Cassandra Tse. I'm Marianne Infante, and this is Breathing Space.